Alright, YouTube, it is Mr. Meme coming at you on this very sunny Duluth, Minnesota day. It is currently July 14th, 2019. It is approximately about 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm recording this video to bring some knowledge. You can see up on the screen here the Genesis project, the birth of Genesis. We're going to look at this as a Kickstarter coming that I'm happy to say that I am supporting. But first of all, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. As always, like and subscribe. We are up to like 518 subscribers. Keep doing what you're doing. The meanies are awesome. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to all the ZelliePay donations that you guys send. It helps out a lot. It helped me get this nice streaming chair, which I have to say is very comfortable. I bought it off of Amazon, and it's by these guys right here. You can see that. Check them out. I got the $85 version chair. They have. I wanted the neon green, but it was like $150, and I was like, So went with the cheaper version. Got a new desk. You can't really see the desk, but it's a little bit smaller than my old desk, but it's more ergonomic for me, and it's got a spot for my laptop. It's got a spot for my monitor. I'm very happy. Eventually plan on picking up a second monitor just so I can keep the recording stuff on one side and the live stuff on the other side, and I can interact with chat a little bit better because I just have the one monitor right now. I don't have a setup where I could open up the laptop and have it. It's just it's not convenient. Not conducive to the way I work. So as always, hit ZelliePay.com. If PayPal's your thing, you can go to PayPal, Pay Me. There's a link on my YouTube channel, and you can send donations that way. And please be aware that anything you send does go back into the channel, pays for all the RPGs and the Kickstarters and the recording equipment that I use, which is nothing special. My videos are pretty raw. I'm not an editor by choice. I'm using OBS. I'm still learning how to use OBS, but I do like it, and it's free. So with that out of the way, as always, like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Let's grow the meanie army. But today's video du jour is pretty freaking awesome. I don't do a lot of miniatures. I love miniature games. I just don't have a lot of people to play them with. But I like skirmish games. I like games that are on the smaller side, and you don't have to pay an arm and a leg to get an army going. So if you're like me and you're down for that, and you want a miniatures game, that's your miniatures game, then man, this is the Kickstarter you've got to back. The Genesis project, the birth of Genesis. It's a customizable tabletop miniature game where you create your own factions and customize your equipment. Guys, it doesn't get any better than this. All those old Chronopia miniatures that you have sitting aside, Legos, if you got some Lego army men sitting aside, you could use those. What I'm getting at here is this is miniature agnostic. If you have a bunch of old, I don't want to pick on any certain workshop company that might make games that's over in England, but if you know what I mean, they have a history of changing their rule books feels like every 90 days, and then your army is obsolete, and so now you've got all these, shall we say, rat men. They're very, rat folk that you're upset with because you can't use half of them. And if you play Skaven in Warhammer, then you've got 10,000 Skaven, and they die in the droves. And now the new army book has come out, and you can't use it. And so now you got to buy new miniatures, and I got really tired of it. And GW is a great company. They've really changed their model around from years ago. I do like their products. I just can't afford to play it. And I don't like games where all you do is argue. I was at the game store this weekend and yesterday, Level Up Games in Superior. Shameless plug. If you're over in Superior, Wisconsin, and you're looking for a great place to go play 40K or Kill Team or Malifaux or whatever your whatever your miniature game of choice is, hit up Level Up Games. They're an awesome game store. But same thing, they were playing Age of Sigmar or whatever the new one is, and everybody was arguing, and that to me is not fun. I like small skirmish games where you keep that kind of stuff to a minimum. Frostgrave, miniature agnostic game. You can use any. I have a bunch of D&D pre-painted plastic miniatures and Pathfinder miniatures. There's my warband for Frostgrave. I just pick out the cool miniatures I want for this week, and I play. So you could do that with this. I mean, you know, you've got a bunch of miniatures. You know, you can go buy a lot of orcs off of eBay, D&D orcs or Pathfinder orcs for dirt cheap. I mean, pennies on the miniature, and you've now got a Genesis army. But let's look at this a little bit better. You know, instead of me, hopefully you guys can see my screen. And what's nice here is they have this video. I'm going to play the intro. I'll try to put timestamps down in the doobly-doo below, so if you want to bypass the intro. But this is the intro for the video, and I think it's really important. This is out of Portland. This is America, you know, the U.S. So it's tabletop games. I'm pretty sure it's EU friendly. They're already 75% of the way there for their funding goal. So let's watch the intro video and give you a little bit. It's going to do it more justice than I can do. So let's watch this, and then we'll go from there.
Hi, my name's Gary. You might know me as Nafka from Fate 212, where I've been running that site for the past 9 years. I've been in the industry of tabletop wargaming, playing games, talking about them since 1998, and I've just absolutely fallen in love with them ever since I first picked them up and was introduced. But what's always bothered me, though, about tabletop wargaming is you have these armies that part of the army you absolutely love, the rest of it, the rules might not match the models might not match the rules. There was always parts of your faction that I just didn't really like to do. The other part was that when you played games, they were very static. So the game was done, and your storyline, your narrative would reset back to zero, and you'd be starting over again. So all your heroic actions from your models, all the fantastic events that we talk about after the gameplay, every time that we play games, was just lost. And that just drove me nuts because it wasn't recorded down. There was no game effect. There were some games that did that, but they did part of it here and a little bit there. I wanted something much more inclusive, where a new edition came out and it didn't automatically change your entire army. You and me both, we both know that we have closets full of all of these models, many of them collecting dust for years. I want to change all that. And so that's why I created the Genesis project, to put the power of the game back into your hands. We're here doing a Kickstarter to help fund 2 books, The Birth of Genesis, which is the first age, and The Core Rules. Here's what you're going to get. Inside The Birth of Genesis, you get to create your own faction. You get to really customize your narrative and just about every aspect of your faction. There are 5 domains, the humanoids, where you can create giants, dwarves, elves, orcs. There's a wide variety of things that you can create. And then there's even more domains beyond that. There are the fae, the reptilia, the beast, and the insects. So there's really unlimited potential here for the number of things that you can create out of your own imagination. Once you get past that, there's even an armory in there that you can customize your weapons, your armor, your mounts. You can create your monsters. There's a tremendous amount of things that you can do inside there, even to the point of creating your own powers, your own unique spells. So your opponents, they can see what you have, but this is unique to you. And I think that that's really important when you're getting down to making something your own. And that's exactly what The Birth of Genesis does. Inside the core rulebook is everything that you need to play the game, from setting up the table, missions, mission awards, and progression. It's going to help you get your forces ready for battle. Beyond the core rules are several pre-made factions to get you playing right away. So we've teamed up with Dave Taylor of Dave Taylor Miniatures to bring in his experience and his knowledge to get the highest quality level books into your hands. If you've liked what you've seen with this project, please consider supporting us by pledging now and sharing with your friends. Thank you.
So there you heard it from the man Gary himself. We all have tons of miniatures sitting in a closet collecting dust. I've got Malifaux miniatures. I've got Wrath of Kings, which is an amazing game, but I can't get anybody to play it, because they don't want to invest in buying specific miniatures for a game that they're not sure they're going to like. With the Genesis project, you don't have that fear. You've got a fully fleshed out set of rules. Dave Taylor's back in this. This guy is amazing. If you've seen him on, he's been heavy in the Dark Age community. He's done some stuff for Games Workshop. He's done a ton of stuff for Dark Age, and of course he's got his own book out there that he produced over the years of all the miniatures that he's painted. He's a phenomenal painter, and he's just easy to watch. This guy is, he's amazing when he paints miniatures. And if you watch Game Trade magazine and you watch Painting Happy Miniatures, he's on there all the time, and it's just, it's really, if you're running into painting brick wall, this is the guy I watch when I'm like stuck and I don't know what to do. I just go and watch him because he's so easy and he's so smooth, and it's just like, just paint. Don't worry about if you don't know what color to make it, and he has all these little tips and tricks that he shares with you, and I highly recommend him. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. But just having his name attached to this project tells me that this is an awesome project, and I'm saying that from the point of a fanboy. I'm not saying that because Gary sent me free stuff, because he didn't. He sent me what you guys can all go to the website and download as well, and it was super nice. And what was cool is I emailed him when I saw the project, and I found out about it on beastofwar.com. I watched their Saturday videos, and they had had a mention of it in their newsletter. I get their weekly newsletter, and it was in there, and I was like, what is this? Because I'm always on the lookout for cool miniature games, because I love painting miniatures, and I love playing miniatures games. But the problem is, I can never find anybody that wants to play the games I want to play, because they feel like they have to go out and buy a rule book. Now I don't have to worry about it, or they have to, more importantly, they feel like they've got to go out and drop $200 on miniatures that they may not like or they don't want to play. And then I feel like, if I want you to play this game, I got to go buy more miniatures. Now I've got even more stress on me to paint miniatures, and now I've got two armies, and you play the game once and you're like, it's not for me. You don't like the rules, or you don't like the mechanics, or the way the world is setting. This is pretty much your cotton candy, man. You can go to the fair and you can order what you want, use the miniatures you want, and you can make your own game. And then once you read the books and you figure out the formula, and it's not rocket science that they're using here on like weapons. If there's like not a falchion, in the game, you can add a falchion probably for 2 points, judging by what the equipment section looked like. So now you've got all your reptile lizardmen type D&D miniatures, and they've all carrying falchions, but no other game has falchions in their mechanics. So now you have it, and so you can do it. So it's very miniature agnostic. It's being built from the ground up. Take a look at the Kickstarter site. They're 75% of the way. This is as of today. They're at 7,490 out of 10,000. They have some very reasonable pledges. $70 gets you both of the books and the PDFs, plus whatever stretch goals get unlocked. And that's where I backed it at, because that was within my budget, and I thought it was a good thing to do, and it's supporting a worthwhile project. I really think Gary is putting his heart and soul, and I'm really big into supporting indie and small press games. And here's a game that I think is really pushing the boundaries of desktop publishing, miniature agnostic. You can use those old chaos dwarves that you can't use anymore. You can use your, if you played Warlords from Reaper, that's kind of a dead game. They don't really put anything out for it. They're still making miniatures, because Reaper is a miniature company and they have awesome paints. I use a lot of their paints. But they're not really supporting Warlords. What's going on with Warlords? Kind of a dead game. I don't want to get someone excited in a game and then they're like, where can I go buy the rule book? It's a dead game. I can just convert. It's not even converting. There's reptile faction in here. There's humans. There's humanoids. Oh, and by the way, humanoid covers elves, dwarves, chaos dwarves, humans, that kind of thing. So that humanoid is humanoid, and then you just go with it. So really cool. Gary's very active on the Kickstarter forum. He's answering questions. So if this has piqued your appetite, head on over there. Maybe ask some questions if I haven't, answered everything that you want to know. And I by no ways mean shape or form can. But the nice thing is it's going to be EPUB format, 48 page. A lot of people have iPads or Samsung Galaxy Tabs or Kindles. You can put the rule book on there, and you don't have to lug a rule book along with all your miniatures. I mean, everything is awesome. So you've got everything. And like I said, here's the stretch goals. You can pause the video and see, but the art looks fantastic. And it's a skirmish game. Again, I'm a big fan of skirmish games. I like small games that I can play in an hour and not bog someone down for 4.5 hours, 6 hours a day. You want to play bigger games, you can, but you know, you've got everything here. There's going to be some very cool stretch goals announced coming up, but you've got everything, you know, humanoids, the fae, reptilia, the beast, insects, you know, cross domains, and monsters. You've got everything. Here's what's going to be in the game: 10 missions, post-game results for campaign play. Campaign play. The only other game out there right now that I know that's really doing that is Frostgrave and Ghost Archipelago. Those are the only games that really, well, and Scrappers. But those are all put out by Osprey, which does amazing stuff. But again, all those games are miniature agnostic, just like this. So if you want a good fantasy game, you're not down with the frozen waste of Frostgrave, and you want to try something different, and you want to use different things, because Frostgrave doesn't have different armies. It's just a wizard is a wizard is a wizard, and you choose what type of wizard. They all have the same stats. They just get access to different spells. But a man-at-arms is a man-at-arms. It doesn't matter if he's a dwarf or a reptile. He's a man-at-arms, and he's going to have the same stats. So if that's a little too vanilla for you, Genesis, man, it's gonna scratch that itch for you. You're gonna have a little granularity. You're gonna have some customization. You can give them special weapons. You know, you can do. You're gonna have 8 pre-made first stage factions ready to go, ready to start playing. So you're gonna have an army list. All you got to do is provide the models, and whatever model you want to use, you can use. Pre-painted D&D Pathfinder miniatures, done. Break out all your dwarves. You're good to go. You got a Warhammer army laying around there collecting dust. Boom, good to go. So I really like it. I like where he's going with this. Like I said, he's super active on the Kickstarter page. Their website is up and running. It's nothing amazing, but he's got some examples of play here in the Kickstarter. I like the game. To me, seems to want to foster goodwill, because one of the first things you do once you set terrain is you hand your army list to your opponent, and your opponent hands you his or her army list, so you know exactly what you're facing and what you're looking at, and there's no shenanigans. You know, there's no ifs, ands. Oh, I thought this was that or that was this. It's right there in front of you, and you know. He's got a video up about creating a faction, and again, these are all kinds of models from everywhere that you can use. You know, so you're good to go, man. I mean, and I love. Like, those look like Bushido miniatures right there, which is an old game that's, you know, still Warlord Games, Merc Miniatures. These are some of the different miniature companies, you know. So, I mean, your reptile thing, you can go to the dollar store and buy a plastic bag for $1 of a bunch of dinosaurs. Boom, you've got an army. No investment. You can spray paint them black and dry brush them, and you're up and running. You don't even have to do that. You can leave them the neon blue or whatever color they come, and you've got miniatures ready to go. You're good to go. Yeah, and it's going to be a D6 system now. If you're like me, I don't like D6 systems, but I'm willing to overlook that and see how the game plays, because like I said, I've watched a couple of the videos on here, and it doesn't seem bad. You're not rolling a butt ton of dice. So, you know, you don't need 8 billion D6s like you did for Warhammer or some other games like Confrontation. You know, and again, there's another prime example. Confrontation had amazing miniatures and amazing art and sculpts. And I know a lot of people played Confrontation. You got a Scorpion army sitting there. There's your humanoid army right there to go. And I mean, it's the sky's the limit, guys. You can go nuts with this. You can make whatever you want to make. Dave Taylor Miniatures are, I mean, he's awesome. There's a bunch of other people behind the project. 900 plus beta testers from the open beta. 14-month excursion resulted in tremendous amounts of feedback from all over the world, reaching deep into individual insights and gaming clubs. Everything that was sent in was read through and analyzed to really make certain that the Genesis project is all it could be. I mean, you can't beat that, man. You know, U.S. book will be $15 for both books. Canada will be 20, and UK and EU, and then of course it goes up from the rest of the world to be $45. But there you go, guys. It's everything you want and you need in a miniatures game, and you're set. I mean, you can use any of these miniature ranges, and you're going to have awesome miniatures. If you're a hobbyist kind of like me and you love painting miniatures and love putting them together, you can now build the faction you want to play, and you'll have a full set of rules. That'll be good to go. And there's even a short video on how to create a faction, which in this case it's the humanoids. So I just wanted to bring some highlight to this, give Gary some love. He was very kind to respond back to me. Within minutes, and he started his email by saying, "Sorry it took so long to get back to you." And I'm like, dude, I just sent you the email like 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes ago at most. So thank you. Because I told him I have a small YouTube channel and I want to cover some miniatures, but like Games Workshop won't even look at me because I don't have 10 billion followers. Osprey doesn't really do anything like that. So Wrath of Kings is kind of dead. Warlord is dead. All the game Malifaux is pretty popular, but nobody up here in northern Minnesota plays Malifaux. I'm trying to get some people interested as soon as the 3rd edition comes out of Malifaux. It's actually out. You can go to weirdgames.com and you can download the 3rd edition Malifaux rulebook for free, which I've already done. I just haven't had a chance to peruse it, but I also ordered a hard copy of the book because I want a physical book, and then I'll print that PDF of it and bring that in as well so that people can use the PDF. I'll use the hardback, and I want to get people interested because Malifaux is an amazing game, but all of those super cool miniatures for Malifaux would work great in this, and I could play a different game using miniatures I already own, so I don't have to go out and buy anything new. That's a win-win in my book. So that saves me money, and that makes the wife happy, and when the wife is happy, Mr. Mean is happy. So guys, I just wanted to take a second. We've rambled on for about 20 minutes now. I'll put the link to the doobly-doo down in the doobly-doo down below. You can see what you're getting here. You can check out the Kickstarter pledge. Mr. Mean's back in it. I think it's awesome. Like I said, they're already 3/4 of the way there, and they still got 28 days to go. So definitely, guys, check it out. Let me know what you think. And if you're still on the fence and you want to make sure it hits the stretch goal there, you can go ahead and click the remind me button, and then 48 hours before the Kickstarter's over, you'll get an email saying, hey, this Kickstarter's about to end. Do you want to go and back it? And you can check it out. But I hope you guys back it at least, at like the $10 level, and get a PDF copy of the rules. I think it's going to be amazing. I think Gary's really onto something here, and this has been a long time coming. There's so many miniature games out there that have failed, maybe because the rules weren't that great, or the marketing wasn't that good. But most of those miniatures games had amazing miniatures that people liked. Confrontation, you can still buy Confrontation miniatures. Just do a Google search. There's a company out there that has got all the molds and is still making miniatures for Confrontation, and you can download the rules for free and play it. So if you're a huge Confrontation fan or you love those miniatures, now you have an up-to-date modern rule set that you can use with those beautiful miniatures. So yeah, again, just wanted to bring some light to this, and hopefully highlight it on the channel. And like I said, if you're a miniatures fan or you're thinking about getting into a miniatures game but you don't want to drop a whole lot of money, this is a great way to go. I mean, for as little as $10, you can get PDF copy of the rules. I believe it's $10. You can get a PDF copy of the rules, and you'll be ready to play. Let's see here, $1, $20 gets you the rules. So for $20 you can get a copy of the rules, and you can be up and playing, with whatever miniatures you have. You can use your plastic army men from your kids' toys, or their Legos. The miniatures don't matter. Or if you're a hobbyist or you're a budding hobbyist and you're new to this, there's tons of different websites where you can order miniatures, and you can order bits, so you can put exactly what you want on them, and you can go nuts, and you can make this your game 100% with a very clear and concise set of rules, and a beautiful book, judging by what little bit of art I've seen of it. The book's going to be amazing looking, and it's going to work just fine on an iPad or if you buy the physical book. So I hope that gives you guys some clarification, and piques your interest in it, maybe go check it out. Hit the Kickstarter website. Maybe send Gary a message and say, hey, I saw this on Mr. Mean. Just want to let you know, I have questions or whatever. But tell him Mr. Mean sent you, and let's get this game funded, man. Let's see what kind of crazy stretch goals we can hit. We got 28 more days to go. That is a long time, and hopefully we can get the message out there that this is a really cool game. I will go ahead and post this to all of my MeWe sites, and of course it'll be up on YouTube. So thanks everybody for watching. As always, peace and hair grease, and remember, Mr. Mean says be nice.